Welcome to Freed on Business. He grew up in South Florida, has been in business here since the early 90s, and has closed over $1 billion in deals. He's seen it all. He always has an opinion, and he's always ready to share it. Informed, entertaining, and connected, he has his finger on the pulse of South Florida's business community. He's Jim Freed, and this is Freed on Business.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Freed on Business. We've got a great show for you today. I'm wearing all my PPE gear here because we're going to talk about personal protection for you, your family, your community. I'm even putting on my mask, my gloves, and my goggles and my face shield. All right. We've got a great team here that we're going to talk to about this. We've got Regan, Marock, and Nelson Barbosa. They're here from Kent Services. We're also going to have Glen Lerner on. We're going to talk about how you can get some recovery from the insurance world on all this and protect yourself. It's going to be a big show. It's going to be all about you. Regan, welcome to the show. Nelson, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having us.
It's our absolute pleasure. I'm getting all ungeared here. It takes forever to put the gear on and then take it off. So while I'm unmasking, Regan, take us to break. We'll be right back with Freed on Business with Kent Services. The whole hour, we're going to talk about protecting you, your family, your real estate, and our community. Back after this. I want to remind everybody that we are South Florida's longest running business talk show, entering our 13th year. And for the last 8 years, our main sponsor has been Warren Henry. The folks at Kent Services know Warren Henry because they're across the street. So when you're looking to buy or lease a car, you want to get every advantage that you can. That's why you have to check out Warren Henry. Land Rover, Range Rover, Infiniti, and Jaguar. They've got their new store up at 151st and Biscayne, right outside of FIU North. They've got great service specials. Go see my friend May Stark. She's up there. She'll give you a great service. In Gainesville, they sell Audis. Down in Key West, they sell all the great cars. And what do they have in common? Well, they all come with the Warren Henry advantage. And that includes complimentary service loaner, dynamic wheel protection, key replacement, guaranteed purchase offer, best value guarantee, and the 72-hour exchange. You can take a full 3 days to be certain you'll love your Warren Henry vehicle. So join me, my mom, and my beautiful wife, Vivian, along with a whole bunch of my friends. We're all members of the Warren Henry family. You should be too. Always the best service, always the best price, always Warren Henry. All right, and a level win if you give me a call at 305-773-6300 or email me, Jim at Freed on Business. I can help you with capital for your real estate. I'm helping all my friends get new mortgages on their home while mortgages are still available. We'll talk about that in a couple of weeks with KC Conway. But if you're planning on financing your home, you better start right now. Call me at 305-773-6300, helping one friend pull $350,000 out of his $2 million home. I'm helping another friend minimize his monthly payments by $1,500 a month. Better than a stimulus check. Give me a call. Another friend is helping his son buy a home. Do it now. The economy is changing. Call me now. 305-773-6300. Bridge loans for commercial. Got that too. So call me, because when you call me, it's all about you.
Welcome back to Freed on Business. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Jim Freed or at Freed on Business, and on Instagram at JimFreed1. Now, back to your host, Jim Freed.
We are back, and we've been joined by Glen Lerner. Glen Lerner is our resident business interruption, commercial litigation, all-around post-COVID legal expert. We're joined with Regan, Marock, and Nelson Barbosa of Kent Securities. They will talk to us about what to do in your building if you want to prevent or have had a COVID-19 incident. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. I want to let Regan start off. Regan, tell me a little bit about what you and Kent have put together, and then let's turn it over to Nelson to see what he's finding as he drives around the state.
Thanks, Jim. Again, thank you so much for allowing us to be on your show and spread a little bit about the word of what we're doing. We have put together a task force. Obviously, that was put together because of this fantastic pandemic that we're going through. And our goal is to help people. And we've really targeted in on a few different areas that we believe people do need our help with. One being with overall security, the potential need to upgrade that security and how you should go about it, which I'm excited that Nelson is on the phone with me. And then the other is reopening your amenities and buildings. Now, I know when we originally set up this show, obviously a lot has changed over the last 3 weeks or so. So, that's an ever evolving topic. And we look forward to speaking to you about whether it's now or down the line, what you should be doing to protect yourself and minimizing the spread of COVID in your building.
No, that's great. There's everything from tension at the elevator door to what happens in the gym to can we go swimming. And in my building, I look to the left, their common areas are shut down. I look to the right, they're rocking and rolling. There's no rhyme or reason. But let's talk a little bit about Nelson and what Nelson brings to the table.
Good afternoon or good morning. Again, I'm right now traveling throughout the state. I'm right now in Tampa. My job is to make sure that everything is based on safety, security, and of course a lot of training. I've loved in training. So what I do notice is the fact that things for at least for a while may not get any better. So we have got to be ready, not only in terms of having our officers trained, well trained, but also understand that things everywhere, especially in condominiums, state buildings, major locations where there is a huge concentration of people. We have got to be ready in all aspects, not only in terms of security, having people see what's going on, observe what's going on, report what's going on, but also in terms of making sure that our places are fully sanitized and be ready to prevent anything to continue to prolong just the way it is right now. We in security have got to understand that we have got to be the eyes and ears of almost everyone that needs our help. And I suggest at this point, a lot of people do need our help because they're not going to get better. People are getting frustrated, being inside the homes, and sooner or later, people may come out and they may, display aggression in one way or the other. So we have got to be ready in terms of security and also obviously keep everyone safe.
Well, we know that people are cooped up. We know that they're getting aggressive. I see it in my building. You see it when the elevator door opens up. Now, I want to ask Glen a question.
Yeah.
Glen, let's say that a building or a commercial venue has had a COVID-19 case reported within them. They've had to shut down. They call a group like Kent to secure the facility and start to clean it. But there are also legal ramifications when COVID has made an appearance in a property. Can you talk about that a little?
I mean, just as a business owner, we've had multiple instances of employees. We have 28 offices in 9 states. We've had multiple incidences of our employees contracting COVID. Every time it's happened, we've had to shut down the office. If it was actually diagnosed within 24 hours, some of them had been home for a week plus when we found out that they had the COVID. So we would still do a cursory cleaning to just make everybody confident. But if someone had recently been in the building and you find that they had COVID, then you have to obviously have a professional cleaning done. That's up to the CDC guidelines. And I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's certainly been a policy for everybody.
Listen, you brought up a very good point, and that's what people have to do with the HR process of having personnel on the front lines. You know, you have offices where people walk in all the time, lots of meetings and conferences. So, guys from Kent, Regan, Nelson, what should be going to the HR process on the frontline people? What should we know about that?
Well, Jim, if I may just take it a step back, for a second there, you spoke about what happens when someone is diagnosed with COVID, bringing in cleaning squads, speaking to the attorneys. We also like to focus on the proactive side and taking the steps prior. So you bring up HR. HR is a great section of that. You should have a plan in place so that, because it's going to happen. It's not if, it's when, right? At this point, we're far enough down the line to know that. Specifically with associations like your building and so forth, I think it's very important that you speak to your attorney, you speak to your insurance agent, you speak to your management company, and you make a combined decision, number one, whether you're going to open things or not, and number two, how you're going to go about it, how you're going to enforce it. From an HR perspective, obviously, here at Kent, and I'd be curious to hear what Nelson says. Would love to have Liz Martis, the director of HR, on the phone for this type of question. But there are very strict guidelines in place for proactive and reactive measures.
Yeah, Jim, can I interject for 1 second? And you are absolutely correct. I mean, this is called the novel coronavirus. And unfortunately, for any business owner, anybody in government, this is novel. This is something that is so new to all of us. How do you deal with something like this? So the only thing you can do as a business owner, as a government entity, is to try to follow all the CDC guidelines. If required to wear masks in a certain state, you wear your masks when you go in, you walk around the office. In your own private office, if you don't have to wear it, you don't wear it. But you enforce all the recommended CDC guidelines. And in terms of HR, that's all you can do. You can try to be as proactive as possible. Now, I think the rub lies in when you do have an incident, which ultimately I think almost every business is going to experience. And the truth is, so many of us don't even know that people have had it. And, we had a breakout because once they opened up the city, a group of our employees went out together and they just went out to have dinner one night and every one of them got it. No one had gotten anything in the office, but we had this little pod of people that ended up having it. So now you have to go back. You got to trace everybody they've had contact with, and you're doing everything as responsibly as you can. But this is new to all of us.
Glenn,
I'm sorry, can I say something? You're right, sir. It is a new concept for all of us. However, by this time, it's been already a few months. We know enough to know that no one should wait to start something anew based on all the facts that we know so far, including the CDC guidelines and everything else. I think the best way to prevent any legal issues, and again, I'm not an attorney, but to prevent any legal concept of problems against any business or let's say home association, whatever, is to simply be able to demonstrate what is done on a daily basis to maintain the place thoroughly sanitized, to follow all the rules such as social distancing, the masks, and everything else. So, in other words, do not wait until it is too late and somebody files a complaint legally. Start proving that you are doing everything possible to maintain your location, your business, your properties as sanitized as possible.
Well, we have Jim. We have roughly 500 employees all over the place, and the great thing about this is it's let us all know that people are able to work kind of like this the way we are right now here on this Zoom. And so what we've allowed people, if you are comfortable coming into the office, come into the office. If you're not comfortable coming into the office, don't come into the office. If you want to wear a face mask in your own private office, wear it. If you're not comfortable with it, but we're doing everything to accommodate our people, get them away from their fears, keeping all CDC guidelines in place in any public forum, in any public spaces. But ultimately, this has to be up to the individual as well. But you still have to have accountability in the workforce. So you still have to have all these policies and procedures in place for them to do their work, yet still have their fears assuaged. You know, people
Glenn,
are right now.
If I may add to that, you spoke about the ordinances, and as Nelson said, we're not lawyers. We'll leave that to you.
I just played on TV.
No problem. But, you know, ordinances are the minimums that you can do. That doesn't mean you can't do more. And, you know, in our opinion, obviously, we don't like to use the word prevent. We like to use the word minimize, because to prevent the spread is almost impossible. We like to talk about it in a multi-factor approach. For instance, I'm in the Kent offices today. When I walk in here, I have to go through a thermal camera. The thermal camera checks my temperature. That's step one. Then there's a sanitizer station before I actually go into the door that I have to clean my hands. So now at least we've confirmed I don't have an elevated temperature. My hands are now clean. It makes sure that I'm wearing my mask, which I am at all times. So there's, you know, the policies and procedures are good. The proactive steps that you take are important, but you have to have a plan for, you know, when things do happen, which they will. You will have positive cases.
Now,
not only that, Regan, I'm sorry, not only that, but with the thermal devices, you cannot really go inside the office unless you are at least for sure wearing a mask. It will not let you come in. So you have got to wear the mask at all times while you're inside the premises.
Hold on. I'd like to take a quick break, sell a couple cars, then come back. And there's a real important thing I want to talk about here. It's the difference between living in a condo and living in a rental building. It's the same physical experience, but it's a dramatically different community experience. I'm giving you a couple minutes to think about that, guys. We'll be right back after this. Kicking it to Mendoza. Rock the place, Mendoza. Where I remind everybody this is South Florida's longest running business talk show. You're with Freed on Business. I'm Jim Freed. Our sponsor, Warren Henry's been with us for 8 years. I want to thank Larry, Warren, and the whole team. I want to let everybody know they should go to their new store at 151st and Biscayne in front of FIU North. Go meet my friend May Stark. She keeps our cars incredible. She's the top service person there. They've got great specials on everything. And remember, when you're looking to buy or lease a car, you want to give every advantage that you can. That's why you have to check out Warren Henry. Land Rover, Range Rover, Infiniti, and Jaguar. They're all great cars. And up in Gainesville, they sell Audi. They've got a store in Key West that's got all of them. They're all great cars, and they all come with the Warren Henry advantage. That means you get a complimentary service loaner, dynamic wheel protection, key replacement, guaranteed purchase offer, best value guarantee, and the 72-hour exchange. They'll give you 3 days to try out your car. If you don't like it, you can swap it out. And I've been there. The place is clean as a whistle. They've got all the protocols in place. It's tremendous. So join me, my mom, my beautiful wife, Vivian, and a lot of my friends. We're all members of the Warren Henry family. You should be too. Always the best price, always the best service, always Warren Henry.
Hey, this is Becca Carlson from Carlson Integrated. You know, a lot of our clients find that they can do anything, but not really everything. We are always excited to jump in and help. So whether you need another set of hands for a project or even comprehensive marketing management, our team of marketing mavens would love to have a conversation with you to see if we are the right fit. We do everything from logo and design work to email outreach and social media to writing and thought leadership. And here's a fun one. We are now offering our fabulous ebook of top 10 marketing tips on our website for free. So head over to carlsonintegrated.com and grab a copy today. And please always let us know how we can help. My email is Becca, that's BEKAH at carlsonintegrated.com. That's BEKAH at carlsonintegrated.com.
That's tremendous. Well done, Regan. Oh, man, Becca, you could hear her smile in that voice. Hey, everybody, if I can help you, give me a call at 305-773-6300. Right now, help a lot of friends do some residential mortgages. Also got some bridge loans cooking. So give me a call at 305-773-6300. If you need capital, I've got it. Why call me? Because when you call me, it's all about you.
Welcome back to Freed on Business. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Jim Freed or at Freed on Business, and on Instagram at Jim Freed1. Now, back to your host, Jim Freed.
All right, we have got a tremendous lineup. We've got Regan Marock. He's with Kent Services. So is Nelson Barbosa. We're talking Barbosa. I knew that was going to come out wrong. Sorry, I'm so sorry, Nelson. I've been saying Barbarossa. I don't know why. Nelson Barbosa, who's got a great track record with a whole bunch of federal agencies, and he's going to talk to us about keeping us secure. We've got Glen Lerner keeping us honest, and he's our legal expert on all this stuff. And we're going to start with what's the difference between condos and rental buildings. We already laid everything out about how you got to have all kinds of protocols and stuff. But Regan, I live in a rental building, and it's different than living in a condo building. Help me out here. Tell me what the differences are.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that, Jim. Nelson, myself, and the rest of the task force were on the phone with the managing partner of a large management firm the other day. And we were asking him, are you opening up your amenities? And, they're condo buildings. They're not rental properties. And he said, in downtown Miami, in Edgewood, and those areas, there's so many renters that you almost have to treat the building as a rental building when you're making these kind of decisions. Renters don't really care. They see things differently than owners do. They tend to be pushing a little bit more to reopen their amenities. I mean, in downtown Miami, renters love to use the gym. They love to use the pool. That's part of the pool that they move to those type of buildings. As a whole, I look at rental properties and condo buildings the same way. You need to go through the procedures, the proper steps. You need to talk to your attorney. You need to talk to your insurance agent. You need to work with management, and then you need to work with a task force like ours. You want to get, in my opinion, a legal letter on file before you open up any of your amenities, just to have it. I'm not saying, and again, I'm not a lawyer, that's going to protect you, but it shows good business judgment. And you want to do everything. You want to have your ducks lined up. And I agree with Nelson. You want to be able to sign off every day that you've sanitized to the best of your ability. You want to, whether it's rental or a condo building, you want to kind of follow the same steps.
Okay, that's great. Now I want to talk, maybe Nelson can help and maybe Glenn can help on this. My building, I live right next to the highway. It was a famous location here in South Florida when they were doing the Black Lives Matter protests. It seemed like every night they were meeting out here and having some kind of confrontation. Let's start with Nelson. Nelson, what can a business owner do in these times to make sure that they're fully protected if something occurs in their neighborhood? And then I want to get to Glenn. Glenn, I want to talk to Glenn about what if something happened. So Glenn, get ready for that. Nelson, how can I stop something from happening? How can I get prepared for something that if it happens so that I can make sure that I get the best result afterwards?
I think the first thing that they should do is, at least if anything, contact us and let us just take a walk through the facility, through the property. Let us pinpoint details or things that we may see that may be able to, assist them or at least prevent anything seriously from happening to their properties. And of course, by that I mean also the tenants, their landlords or whoever resides at a particular location or business. At the same time, I think it's important that not to wait until something does happen, like when like the Black Lives Matters protests that took place where a lot of things actually happened during that time. They should at least be able to know that if somebody's securing the place, if somebody's at least looking at the camera system, somebody's at least writing, documenting what actually happened, it gives something to hold on to rather than not having anything at all. So you want to always have evidence. You want to have proof that you have done everything possible to secure your facility, and at the same time understand that in the event that there is any type of accusation or demand against you as a business, you have done everything possible, not just the part about sanitation, but the part about keeping your business, your property, your tenants, your owners secure as much as possible by being able to see something and document something. And that's normally done by officers from, like I say, officers that we have in our own company. But at the same time, we are responsible for at least making sure that we can at least look at your facility and and give you some updates, some ideas that may help you out.
Now, Glenn, somebody's property got harmed. Either they were closed during the riots, even though they were supposed to be able to be open, or they had damage. Seems to me like these people need to call a firm like yours.
Are you talking about they were hurt because they were not able to operate, or they weren't open because of the COVID, or they actually sustained physical damage due to a riot or something like that? I'm not sure what you're referring to.
Yeah, the social unrest. If somebody was impacted by social unrest, isn't that a cause, business interruption, or other claims?
Yes, certainly. I believe that should be covered by the insurance. One of the things, obviously, is, we've been discussing the business interruption claims for businesses that have lost huge money as a result of, COVID-19. This has certainly impacted the vast majority of businesses in America. The prediction is 40 to 50% of all restaurants in America will remain shuttered long term. Obviously, restaurants got destroyed, but a number of other businesses. We're just going to see a complete shift in the way our economy functions going forward. Right now, the litigation is beginning to see whether or not these cases, not talking about, people throwing rocks through windows with that's going to be covered. That's covered by your insurance policy. But whether or not there was actual physical damage because somebody in your building had COVID-19, when we talk to businesses around the country, helping them with their COVID-19 business interruption claims, that's one of the questions we ask. Have any of your employees contracted COVID-19? Was anybody on here? Because the number one, besides the virus exclusions in the policy, that's the number one reason why insurance companies are denying these. Insurance companies are denying every one of these across the board nationwide. They will not pay one policy. The insurance lobbies already said we're not paying one policy. They've taken, they've dug their heels in. So if you have a clause in your contract that specifically references the virus exclusion, it's going to be difficult to get compensated. It just depends on how that virus exclusion is worded. Some of them are referenced as microbe or microorganism exclusion, so there could be some leeway there. But if there is no exclusion, then we believe that there's a cause of action that you can go after them. Now they're going to argue, well, no, there's no physical damage to the property. Where's the broken window? Where's the building collapse? Just because there's little itsy bitsy microorganisms on the property. But we know what's happened because of this. So now you have the big fight here is going to be what takes precedence, this physical damage clause or the civil authority clause. And that's what we're looking at nationwide. At the end of July, there's going to be some decisions and some stuff happening in Chicago that's going to kind of set the tempo for where this litigation's going long term. We're representing a lot of big businesses around the country, and it's incredible what people have lost due to this. It breaks your heart. I think for any of us, these are still our brothers and sisters, no matter what. If it's Joe's restaurant, Jose's restaurant, doesn't matter. And these are people that are just trying to make ends meet and feed their families and take care of their community. And they've been closed forever now. Yeah, and it's just tough. It's tough to see.
Very difficult.
Yeah.
The people watching online, Regan and Nelson, wanted to know if you're using artificial intelligence and if there's going to be a next gen to the thermal imaging. It seems that it may be sufficient up till now, but it may not be long term. I know I use an oximeter rather than the thermal imaging.
The thing with the thermal imaging is the fact that if you have a group of people all coming in at the same time into your facility, okay, you may not know who in there may have a high fever, something that can then go ahead and be transmitted to others. So what you want to do is you want to be able to distinguish not just one person, but who in that particular group is the one that may have to be removed. I mean, it may be too late if you let him come in from the beginning, but if possibly, you may have to remove him right away, and they have got to understand that. You as a business have got to set a policy that if you even consider the fact that you have a fever, high fever, and possibly the, COVID-19, you have got to either be removed or just simply ask to be, to leave the place. But you can only determine that if within that group itself, you know which one it is that it has a fever. And sometimes it's very difficult to tell unless you have, like I said, like a thermal device that tells you exactly who in that group has the fever, the high fever.
Jim, if I can add to that, we about 5 months ago started looking at thermal technology. We spoke to some of the big companies out of Texas, companies that had technology with AI, that search for weapons, and the thermal, obviously. And the thermal we're using that we selected was because of its availability, number one, and number two, its affordability. Because some of the technologies that's out there that's being purchased by Amazon and by Ford, it has much bigger capabilities, but it's just not affordable. What you said you use, Jim, that's fantastic. I mean, it's great that at a minimum you're using that. We obviously recommend the thermal cameras you put on the wall because unfortunately at a business or in a condo, you can't always have someone standing at the door with the hand thermometer. So by putting that on the wall or having the more advanced system, it kind of self-serves itself when people come in, and it alerts management if someone has an elevated temperature.
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
Now, we're going to take a quick break here, then we're going to come back. Can you guys stick around and do another segment with me? Yes? Okay,
yeah, absolutely.
Good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, great. Regan Mendoza, take it away. Let's come right back as soon as we can because we've got great guests. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. We have a great show going on. I want to remind everybody we're South Florida's longest running business talk show. And I want to thank all our healthcare heroes and first responders for all of the things they're doing for us every day. And I also want to thank our good friends at Warren Henry. Thank you for sponsoring us now for the 8th year in a row. When you're looking to buy or lease a car, you want to get every advantage that you can. That's why you have to check out Warren Henry Land Rover, Range Rover, Infiniti and Jaguar. Up in Gainesville, they sell Audis. In the Keys, they've got them all. What do they all have in common? Well, besides being great cars, they all come with the Warren Henry advantage. That means you get complimentary service loaners, dynamic wheel protection, key replacement, a guaranteed purchase offer, best value guarantee, and the 72-hour exchange. Now, go in there for service. See my friend May. The place is spick and span, and they've got all kinds of great specials. They just opened up at FIU North at 151st and Biscayne. Join me, my mom, and my beautiful wife, Vivian. We're all members of the Warren Henry family. You should be too. Always the best price, always the best service, always Warren Henry. Hey, everybody, give me a call at 305-773-6300. Hit me up on the internet. I can help you get a mortgage on your commercial or residential property. I'm doing hard money loans on commercial, bridge loans too. I'm helping clients finance their homes or their kids to purchase their homes. My gosh, if you need real estate capital, I've got access to it. So give me a call at 305-773-6300. I've even got a guy that's building a luxury spec home for over $10 million. We're helping him too. So give me a call at 305-773-6300. Why? Because when you call me, it's always all about you.
Welcome back to Freed on Business. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Jim Freed or at Freed on Business, and on Instagram at Jim Freed1. Now, back to your host, Jim Freed.
I'm just checking here. My oxygen level is 98. I had a friend, his wife went to the hospital when it was 60. This is a big, important thing to make sure you're always okay, because a lot of this stuff you won't ever know you had it until you get it. So we're here today. We're here with Regan Marock. He is Regan. What's your title over there? Chairman?
Yeah, I'm the chairman of the Kent Task Force.
Okay, great. We've got your teammate Nelson Barbosa. See, I didn't add the R that time, Nelson. Nelson's been involved by the federal government agencies in the security part there. And then we've got Glen Lerner. Glen and his team are experts on COVID litigation and task force and recovery stuff. Welcome back, Glen.
We can't say experts with any of the state bars. Just, I don't think anybody in the United States is an expert on this, since it's completely new. This is the first time we've ever seen this type of litigation, because it's focusing on a virus and a pandemic. So if anybody tells you they're an expert, they're lying.
Well, there's an honest man right there for you.
We're trying to cross that bridge as we get to it, you know?
Well, listen, Glenn, thank you for being an expert in this ever-evolving field. And I know you stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night, so you're getting there. You're getting there. So now, Regan, we've been talking about condos. We've been talking about high-rises. Do you work with planned communities? Because I'm sure they have the same kind of issues that a condo would have. And before we get started, let's reset the table about what exactly your team is and what the task force is that you're involved with. And maybe we even get Glenn and his team involved with the task force.
Sure. So the task force is through Kent Services, a 38-year-old national company, state of Florida as a client, city of Miami, a lot of condos. And basically, the task force was put together to assist associations, planned HOAs, businesses that are looking to, number one, potentially upgrade their security, as Nelson spoke about a few moments ago, do a walkthrough, do an evaluation, speak to the professionals, and come up with a plan, not only for paperwork purposes, but actually to keep you safe. And the other is assisting you with coming up with a plan to reopen your amenities. That's your pool, that's your clubhouse, that's your gym, and coming up with the enforcement plan. You said planned community. I know some ordinances are coming out about, like, for instance, and again, not a lawyer, Palm Beach, where everyone has to wear a mask, which we all agree with. I think that's one constant, Glenn. We're still kind of figuring things out, but everyone should be wearing a mask. What do you do when someone's not wearing a mask? What is the enforcement plan? And that's why I reiterate, work with management, your lawyer, and your insurance agent, even if they don't cover it yet, to come up with a plan that together you make a combined decision that will help you execute upon.
Yeah, I also think that you need a consistent application of that plan so that people don't feel like they're being singled out. I think that it's really difficult to manage the different individual anxiety packages that each person brings to the table. Now, Nelson, let's say that there's some conflicts going on. What should a community have in place to make sure that these conflicts are de-escalated? Maybe some training for their, I'll call them courtesy officers?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe that training is very important in all aspects, not only in regards to our security officer, but actually in regards to even the HR personnel, or not HR, I'm sorry, the HOA personnel. I think it's important that the rules are set and that everyone, especially the residents or anyone that tries to get into a Southwest business, that they are fully aware that they have got to comply in order to be able to have access to whatever it is that they're looking to have access to. Otherwise, they will be in compliance and therefore uncompliance, and therefore everyone else could get sick as a result of their negligence. So negligence is important in the sense that you do need to stop that from happening. And you have got to set the rules. You got to be able to notify all the, all the tenants, everyone inside your facilities, and let them know that these are the rules. We got to follow them, and that pertains to family members or anyone else that decides to come inside that particular location.
Now, what if somebody
is very important?
What if somebody in the building has COVID-19? Is the building responsible to let people know that this unidentified, because I don't think you can identify a person in the building has or may have COVID, and that they need to be careful in the building? Because I would think that's a material fact I'd like to know.
I think, and again, I'm not an attorney, but I believe it would be negligent of any business or any building to not notify everyone else that resides there or works in that location that someone has COVID, and they don't tell that to anyone. I will consider it to be negligence, especially if it goes into a legal matter, because people have the right to know. They have the right to be able to be safe and feel like they are being protected, not just by the HOA, but also by everyone inside that particular site.
So Glenn, if the building management knows that there's been one person, two person, however many, do they have a legal responsibility to let the people in the building know that there's somebody in the building with COVID, even if that person is unidentified?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that whatever measures are necessary and required by law at this point in time, I mean, this is obviously because this is all so new, but to do anything to assuage people's fears with the appropriate cleaning remedies, obviously, you can't cordon off access in a building. So, if people are diagnosed, they're supposed to self-quarantine, or they're either in the hospital or in their apartment or a condo quarantining. All you can do then is obviously take care of the common areas that everybody has access to and assuage everybody's fears that everything's been cleaned according to guidelines and business as usual, though. There's nothing else. One thing you have to be careful of. We've dealt with this several times in our offices around the country where people have contracted it. We had a duty to let everybody know the second we found out one of your coworkers, and several of our coworkers said, I want people to know it was me, so that anybody that's been around me. So we had to get their permission, of course, in writing to disclose who it was, because obviously you have huge HIPAA violations. If not, they said, please let my co-employees know it was me so they know and we can trace and make sure anybody that I've had contact with can, see how they're feeling or go get tested. But ultimately, depending upon what we found out, everything was cleaned. Office was shut down for the required period of time. And then when you're allowed to open again, it's business as usual. That's all you can do. The problem is we cannot make things so overburdensome that places collapse. I mean, you're trying to weigh the benefit to the individuals and people's well-being and peace of mind against, making it too burdensome for the apartment, the condo, the business, that they can no longer continue to function. It's hard enough to function right now. So there is a balancing act here, but you have to do everything that's required by law, or at least what we have right now.
Now,
and I think that's why it's so important to be proactive. That way you can demonstrate that you are doing everything possible to prevent anyone from getting COVID-19. But again, once you do find out, you have got to notify everyone of the fact that, hey, we may all be contaminated, if we don't do something about it.
Yeah, Nelson, you're 100% right. I'm sorry. Jim, let me just
finish your thought, please.
The hardest thing, Nelson, I think, and you are absolutely correct, but they state a minimum of 35 to 50% of people are completely asymptomatic. So you're doing everything you can to take temperatures, to do this and do that, and that little person crept right by. We're doing the best.
I agree. I agree with you.
Guys, hold on a second. There are folks are watching. I want to let them know we will be up for replays. You can go to Freedom Business. It'll be up for replay probably today or tomorrow. They're asking about the thermal imaging for temperatures. Let's take a quick break. We'll talk in the last segment a little bit about thermal, And also, we want to get more on the liabilities right after this. Mendoza, take it away. We'll be right back. We're going to revisit the part about the thermal thermometers, and we'll talk some more liability after this. Regan, take it away. Okay, everybody, I want to give a shout out to all of our healthcare heroes and all of the first responders that are helping us. And I want to remind everybody we're South Florida's longest running business talk show. If you're looking to buy or lease a car, you want to get every advantage that you can. That's why you have to check out Warren Henry. They've got their new store up at 151st and Biscayne Boulevard in front of FIU. The place is spick and span. Their service department is tremendous. They've got all kinds of specials. Look for my friend May Stark when you go for service. When you're looking to buy or lease that car, you want to get every advantage that you can. That's why you have to check out Warren Henry Land Rover, Range Rover, Infiniti, and Jaguar. Up in Gainesville, they've got an Audi store. Down in Key West, they've got one that sells everything. What do they have in common? Well, they're all great cars, and they all come with the Warren Henry advantage. That means you get complimentary service loaner, dynamic wheel protection, key replacement, guaranteed purchase offer, best value guarantee. And, of course, the 72-hour exchange. You have 3 days to decide if you like your Warren Henry car. I'm sure you will. Join me, my friends, and my beautiful wife, Vivian. We're all members of the Warren Henry family. You should be, too. Always the best price, always the best service. That's right, always Warren Henry.
Hey, this is Becca Carlson from Carlson Integrated. You know, a lot of our clients find that they can do anything, but not really everything. We are always excited to jump in and help. So whether you need another set of hands for a project or even comprehensive marketing management, our team of marketing mavens would love to have a conversation with you to see if we are the right fit. We do everything from logo and design work to email outreach and social media to writing and thought leadership. And here's a fun one. We are now offering our fabulous ebook of top 10 marketing tips on our website for free. So head over to carlsonintegrated.com and grab a copy today. And please always let us know how we can help. My email is Becca, that's BEKAH at carlsonintegrated.com. That's BEKAH at carlsonintegrated.com.
All right, and I'm Jim Freed. Give me a call at 305-773-6300. Please wait till after the show. Somebody did it during the last time I said that. I'm helping everybody with capital, helping them with their homes, helping them with their owner-occupied businesses. We're helping a group do their commissary right now in Broward County, teaming them up with a community bank. Those still exist. Give me a call at 305-773-6300. Let me help you navigate the capital world. Yesterday, somebody called me and said that their architect told them I was the best mortgage broker to help them out with their problem. What's their issue? They're building a $20 million spec house on Miami Beach. They need financing. I've got it. So give me a call at 305-773-6300. I'm here to help you and your family with your capital needs today. Another friend helping his son buy his first home. 305-773-6300. Jim Freed. When you call me, it's all about you.
Welcome back to Freed on Business. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Jim Freed or at Freed on Business, and on Instagram at Jim Freed1. Now, back to your host, Jim Freed.
We have got our last segment. We're hitting cleanup here. We've got Nelson Barbosa. See, I got it right twice there, Nelson. Raisin Marock. Raisin. I said raisin. There you go. So I win, I lose. It's up and down. And Glenn, it's hard to mess up Glen Lerner. Okay, so we're here. We're talking COVID, post-COVID, protecting yourself, protecting your building, knowing your rights. We talked a little bit about thermal thermometers and AI. Could you just touch on that a little bit, Regan, for some of the folks that are watching?
Yeah, and I'd love to tie in just 2 points. As Glenn said, you can to prevent something is very hard. That's why we use the word minimize. You do everything you can to minimize the odds of the spread. It's the same as getting a test. You can get a test and be negative. The second you walk out of the testing site, you contract it. So everything we do is to minimize the odds of spreading it. And this thermal is really a great. I mean, what's everyone talking about? They're talking about, do you have a fever? There's CDC has a list of different symptoms. The thermal cameras, you put them at the access points. There are 2 types. The one is the face forward. You put it on. You simply, as people walk in, they stand in front of it. It takes your temperature and makes sure you're wearing a mask, and it lets management know that you can come in. The other is a little bit more complicated, as Nelson was speaking about, and this is more for stadiums and when that opens in malls. When people walk in, it's a camera that's basically looking at everyone because it's impossible to do one by one, right? When you have such a high frequency of foot traffic. So that alerts if someone does have an elevated temperature. That's already in airports, in big businesses. And I think we're going to start seeing that a lot more in buildings and in local businesses. And I just one other point I wanted to make. Management, you speak about letting them know, if someone has, I think, putting my management hat on really quick, Jim, I think management should be sending out something weekly to the residents, whether it's a rental building or a condo building. Let them know what's happening. Hey, we had this, it came up, we're closing the pool. This is the reason the pool was closed. That's a way to kind of take away a little bit of the anxiety. Well, did you close it just for political reasons, or is it because there was a COVID crisis? It's just, a COVID, someone tested positive. I think communication in this time is just so important to keep everyone calm.
Glenn, I want to talk to you as we kind of wrap things up. I think that, you and your partner, Alan, always give, I always like to call it the small black print whenever you talk about everything. You always like to talk that it's the novel coronavirus and stuff like that. I can't even say it today. Glenn, what are the things that people need to do proactively to protect themselves from a liability standpoint here?
Well, first, we keep talking about the thermal thermometer. And I love the concept of the thermal thermometer because I'm of the age, just like you are, and I think Nelson from looking at him, when that thermometer always was in thermal. When you're 3-4 years old, you saw your mom coming with the thermometer. You knew where that thermometer was going.
Oh, yeah. It don't look like this no more, Glenn.
Thermometer never had a good connotation when you were a little kid.
Oh, no. I was so thrilled.
Kids have it so easy.
That one.
We grew up tough in the old days where those thermometers went.
Well, you're a tough guy anyway, Glenn. You're a tough man anyway.
Obviously there are going to be people that are going to be able to help in terms of liability and, for business in terms of what type of liability. I think obviously if you follow every guideline, like we're talking about, doing everything to, as Nelson has stated, to be proactive. We certainly want to be as proactive as possible without being unduly burdensome. Ultimately, though, it's just kind of going to come down, our involvement is, we're trying to help so many of these businesses around the country, condo associations, giant restaurant chains. We're representing giant hospitality groups, some of the biggest food vendors in America, sports teams. They've lost, tens and hundreds of millions of dollars, some of these people. And because this is such a novel litigation, because it focuses on something we've never litigated before, this virus exclusion and what actually constitutes physical damage to a property. I mean, you guys see it. What is the physical damage? It's something we can't see, but we know it's there. It's getting people sick, or at least they assume that it is. So, we started this, Lerner Rowe business claims. Anybody that wants to discuss, especially if they have a large claim, we're really looking at business losses that are in excess of $10 million. Give us a call at 833-MY-CLAIM or mybusinessclaim.com. And we're happy to talk to you and see, it's free of charge. It's on contingency. You don't pay us if we don't get you anything. And at least you get to see if you've struck out already. The insurance company is going to deny your claim. They've said it. They've denied every claim in America. You've struck out, so you get an extra chance at the plate. Let us look at your policy and see if maybe there's something we can do to help you,
Yeah, well, Glenn, that's why we have you on the show. I know you're helping out a number of my clients. I want to thank you for that. I know you're teaming up with some of the top forensic accountants in the state, in the country, and in the world. You're doing this internationally. And that's why we wanted to get you together with the folks from Kent Services. They have an international focus too. And Regan, I wanted to come back to you and leave it with you since you're the chairman of the firm. I want you to tell us about what's going on today. And I want you to tell us a little bit about the task force. And I want to try to get Glenn involved in that task force.
Yes, no, Jim, again, thank you. Again, Kent, 38-year-old company, national, state of Florida, city of Miami, a lot of condos, is set up. It has the platform to help associations and multifamily businesses reopen amenities and so forth. They have the platform and the HR department to help with physical security, with technology. There's a lot of ways we can help. And the best way to put it is it doesn't cost anything. Give us a call. Allow us to provide you with some information and then decide from there if it's something that you're interested or that you need.
Regan, one other question. The guys here on the on Instagram are asking, what is the best thermal thermometer? What do you think are the best one or two? Please help me out there. What do you think?
I don't have the answer as to which are the best. I don't know if they're talking about the digital handheld ones. All I know is, as I mentioned earlier in the show, about 4 months ago, we started speaking to big companies about trying to find distribution for these cameras. And one of the most important things to us outside of accuracy was to make sure that we found an affordable one, because it's great to have this technology, but if a building or a restaurant can't afford to put that technology in, it doesn't really matter. So we found a distributor. Anyone that's interested, we're happy to speak to them, show them the technology, answer any questions that they may have on it.
Okay, that's great. Nelson, I want to give you a chance to close up here, and then Glenn, you're going to have the last word. We've got a couple of minutes left. Nelson, what's the number one security issue that people are having now with COVID?
The number one security is actually to be able to remain and find ways to stay 100% safe as possible. The best way to do that is hopefully by having, let's say, security personnel that are monitoring people that are coming in and out, documenting who is in, observing, and just really keeping track of everything that is happening in your building. No one else can do that, but a security officer normally has a potential of doing that by actually documenting everyone. And also, again, you have got to think as a business, you got to think about security, you got to think about safety, and you got to think about protecting everyone that in any way relates to your business or your apartment, or depending on the location that you're referring to. You have got to think about safety at all times.
And Glenn,
in all aspects.
Glenn, last word to you. We've done everything we can. Somebody got COVID. We got to call you.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's going to be very difficult for anybody to enforce. I mean, you've seen where my first office started in Vegas 29 years ago. There have been a number of cases filed now against the casinos by casino employees, stating that the casinos did not do enough to protect them. And that's going to be some interesting litigation. Obviously, we believe that falls under the jurisdiction of the workers' comp courts. But at the same time, they're trying to argue that it was such gross misconduct by the casinos in not requiring face masks by the visitors and by the people working there, that they expose them to this, and that they want this to actually be outside of the scope of workers' compensation, and that they could actually be exposed to damages in a real court of law. And so this is going to be very interesting. This is going to be really the first time anything like this has come about. So it's like I've said, I mean, there's going to be so many different areas of litigation. Obviously, you're seeing all the Carnival Cruise Lines or Princess Cruise Lines litigation coming up right now. No one knows really what's going to happen with this. How much was enough? How much did you do? And, if you're the person that got sick or your family member died, you're going to argue they never did enough. But at the same time, if you're the person that owns a business, say, what else could I have done? So as Regan and Nelson have argued today, and I think very well by both of them, you do everything you can do. But there is a point, I guess, that, as a business owner, you're going to argue, at what point do you have me do so much that it's so unduly burdensome, I can't even operate my business anymore? And that's going to be, it's going to be interesting what the courts come back with on this. I really have no idea. Nobody knows. This is new for all of us. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Yes, I think this is changing. I mean, things are changing on a daily basis. And Glenn, personally, I happen to agree with you. We have to find a balance. The steps we take, we need to do the best we can. The business judgment, as I know you lawyers, I think that's what you're referring to as well, right? You do the absolute best you can. That makes sense, and we keep the world spinning.
Listen,
make sure that everything is documented. Make sure everything is documented. Every step you take.
Guys, this is tremendous. We could go on forever, but I got to wrap it up. I want to thank everybody for participating. I want to give a shout out to our first responders and our healthcare heroes. Yes, I want to thank our sponsors for today at Kent Services and at Lerner Rowe, always a sponsor. Thanks to our other sponsors, our key sponsor, Warren Henry, Creco AI, Carlson Integrated, the NFL Alumni Association, the Bergstrom Center for Real Estate Studies, Turkel Brands. Of course, I want to thank you, our listener. Go to our Facebook page, like our show, tell your friends, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, we're up everywhere. If you missed today's show, people were asking, it'll be up on freedombusiness.com ASAP. We'll send links to Nelson and Regan and Glenn to circulate it in their networks. This is Jim Freed for Freedom Business. Look for us next Wednesday at noon. Why? Because I just love doing this. Remember, the person that wants to do something finds a way. The other finds an excuse. Now go out there and make it happen. We're out of here. Thanks, guys.